So what I'm actually going to be talking about is about the dating scene in China. It's something that really struck me as totally very strange and very different from the way it works in the U.S. And there's, if you come here as a, let's say, a foreign male, there are several challenges that you'll have to go through. One of the first things that struck me, of course, is the fact that people here tend to get married a lot earlier. So I noticed I was working in an office full of women. By the time that they were 25, they were all married. By the time that they were, say, 22, they were either married or had a serious fiance. So basically the way that things work here is that 20 years old is the age of consent in China. So similar to, it's 18 in most countries, however it's 20 for women in China and 22 for men. So what happens is that most people that I know of will have a serious, for example, women, they'll have a serious boyfriend during high school. By the time that they're in college, they get engaged, and by the time that they finish college, they're already married. So pretty much the problem, of course, in China for women is that by the time that they're 25 or 26, they're considered to be leftover women, which means that they're too old to get married and undesirable. So women, of course, face the pressure to get married when they're 20, 21, 22. By the time that they're 25, it is incredibly hard for them to find a Chinese boyfriend. So that's one of the issues, of course, facing any foreign teachers or foreign people over here who are trying to find a Chinese girlfriend, is, of course, the fact that everyone here gets married very early. And that means that they're usually dating and have all their cards laid out by the time that they're 20, so that by the time, or 19 or 18, so that by the time that they're 20, they can go ahead and tie the knot. The other thing, of course, is the gender ratio imbalance, which is something I think most people are familiar with. As a result of the one-child policy, there's 30 million more men than women in China. So what that means is that you have a lot of single guys running around and not enough women. The third thing, of course, that causes some difficulty is the fact that the whole language and cultural differences. So the fact that 99.5% of the population does not speak English, you're going to have a lot of difficulty communicating with an individual who you're trying to date. And also, of course, you've got the cultural dynamics as well, the cultural difference, which can be very, very difficult. On top of that, though, you have what has been called the Little Emperor Syndrome, or I guess you could refer to it as the Princess Syndrome. So most Chinese women you'll meet nowadays, those in their 20s and early to mid-30s, have grown up as only children. They've been pampered their whole lives, and it's something that you see. It's actually even worse now, but Chinese children are extremely pampered compared to the way they are in the West. If you go to a bathroom, for example, you're likely to see an 8, 7, 8, 9-year-old child bending over. They've just done number 2, and of course their father is sitting there, wiping out their asshole with a piece of toilet paper. So basically, Chinese children get everything done for them. They grow up with 2 parents and 4 grandparents who are always there, showering them with attention. They have aunts and uncles everywhere, showering them with attention and gifts and presents. So most of the women, of course, you meet who are in their, let's say, for example, not married, they're in their 20s, they've grown up in that fashion. So that's why they would be highly demanding, and basically what in Chinese would be referred to as sa jiao, which basically means someone who's a spoiled brat or a spoiled princess. That does tend to be the case from what I hear from most foreigners here complaining about Chinese girlfriends versus other nationalities. So those are three main problems in terms of dating in China. What a lot of people I know do is that, especially foreign guys who've had problems with dating Chinese girls in the past, or just say it's not worth it, they'll just fly out to Thailand or wherever they want to go on their vacation. But finally, the other issue you have to deal with is the whole cultural issue. So as a friend of mine put it, he's been dating a girl for a long time, maybe 2 or 3 months, and he's just finally starting to get like a peck on the cheek. So Chinese women are very different in terms of affection to Western women, particularly when they start off. What I hear a lot of times from people is that you'll start to meet a Chinese girl and she just wants to be friends first, and then sort of see how things go, as opposed to Western women, which tend to be more direct in that manner. So you have a lot of cultural differences going on here, which do make it a lot more difficult to date than it might be in your home country.